All right, hadn't been planned on being on tonight, baseball fans, but was looking through the comments, and Clinton Parks was requesting the Ned McGreevy All-Stars versus the 1934 Cardinals. We already did play the Cardinals, and we beat them 1-0. But Clinton, I don't know whether he saw it or wanted a rematch. So once again, tonight we are going to have, it's been a while, so why not? This can be our Ned McGreevy All-Stars versus the 1934 Gas House Gang. Should be a lot of fun. Close game last time. So, since we're going to assume all the pitchers have had plenty of rest, we're going to have Walter Johnson versus Dizzy Dean. And I think this time we will be visiting. We will be visiting St. Louis. So let's get into it. Let's have a little bit of fun. Hopefully some folks will show up. I know I said there wouldn't be any baseball tonight, but why not? We can do one game. Make sure I got the 1934 Cardinals, and yes, I do. All right. So we'll be at Sportsman's Park today, and we'll let the computer manage the Cardinals. All right. So we're going to generate a computer lineup here, and then we're going to make some switch-abouts here. So Sherry McGee. So Spud Davis starting? No, not at short. I don't think so. We're going to give Tris Speaker a start tonight. Cobb's been playing center. We're going to start Speaker. And we're going to leave Deacon McGuire in there to catch. And it's putting Buck Ewing at second. Let's see how he's rated as a second baseman. Not bad. Ewing can catch, play first, second, and third, center, and right field. So I think this will be fun. We're going to take Old Haas out of right field, though. And we're going to put in Mike Tiernan this time. And we're going to move Tiernan up right behind Bruthers, just for fun. All right, 2 watching. Hopefully we can get some people saying hi in the chat. And we're ready to get underway in this little rematch against the Gas House Gang. The 1934 St. Louis Cardinals, world champions, beating the Detroit Tigers in a crazy Game 7. Go back and read about that Game 7. And Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis begging Medwick to come out, getting pelted by glass soda bottles. They didn't play around in 1934. All right, so it's going to be Dizzy Dean versus Walter Johnson, and let's get to it. 2 great pitchers. All right, here we are at Sportsman's Park, and it's going to be the Dublin Nuffseds against the 1934 St. Louis Cardinals, and it will be Walter Johnson versus Dizzy Dean. 69 degrees at game time, wind speed 7 miles per hour, out to right center field. There's Clinton Parks. So Clinton, I saw you in the comments. This actually would be a rematch. The Ned McGreevy All-Stars have played the Cardinals once. And won 1-0. So this will be a fun matchup, and we're going to pretend that since it's been so many weeks that Walter Johnson and Dizzy Dean are well rested, so we are ready to go. So thank you, Clinton, for this requested game. All right, Hannes Wagner will get the start tonight, leading off. Wagner hitting .355, 7 dingers, 100 runs batted in. Diz has finished his warm-up pitches. ERA for Dizzy Dean, 2.66, 30 wins, 7 loss, 7 saves in 1934, 311 and 2/3 innings pitched. Walked 75 and struck out 195. Let's look at this St. Louis defense from left to right. Ducky Joe Medwick, Eddie Orsatti, Jack Rothrock from first to third on the infield. Ripper Collins, National League home run champ in 1934. Frankie Frisch, Leo the Lip DeRocher got that nickname from Babe Ruth himself. Pepper Martin, the wild horse of the Osage, at the hot corner. Bo Delancey catching, and old Diz pitching. Hey, there's World's Worst Gamer. Clinton Park says, saw you out of the park game somewhere. Facebook, someone put Alameda County Stadium inside the Coliseum. That's interesting. All right, so again, this is a rematch. This was, I think, the second team that the McGreevy All-Stars played. A loss in extra innings against the 1929 A's, and then we beat these Cardinals 1-0. So this is a rematch. Dizzy Dean, Hannes Wagner, or Dizzy Dean and Walter Johnson. So enjoy the game. Beautiful day for baseball. The 1-1 delivery to the Flying Dutchman. Wagner swings, fly ball to center. Eddie Orsatti back on it, and will make the nice catch. 1 up, 1 down for Tris Speaker. Normally Ty Cobb getting the start in center field, but Tris Speaker, the Gray Eagle, getting the start tonight. Infield looking bunt. Ripper Collins in at first. Pepper Martin in at third. Dean with the 0-2 delivery to Tris Speaker. Speaker, base hit. This is going to go for extra bases. Rothrock giving chase in right field. Speaker going for 2. Speaker is easily going to have himself a 1-out triple. So the Gray Eagle on third base, and the Nuff Said's looking to draw first blood here in the top of the first. There's Robbie Wartburg, who's supposed to be working, but apparently must be talking to us from that thing that he's doing. Ed Delahanty, 378, 10 homers, 118 runs batted in. So the Nuff Said's looking to go 2-0 against these 1934 St. Louis Cardinals. Great team, and a nice matchup, I think, between what I think the dead ball, between these dead ball 19th century players and the 1934 Cardinals. A nice mix of dead ball and power ball tactics. Dean from the stretch, and the 2-0 delivery to Delahanty. Delahanty swings, base hit to left field. Delahanty picks up the RBI. Tris Speaker continuing to score, and the Nuff Said's tally 1 here in the top of the first. So Robbie at home. Yeah, I thought we were off tonight, but what the hell, cousin? What the hell? I was looking through the comments, and Clinton had asked for a requested game between the Nuff Saids and the 1934 Cardinals. I wasn't sure that he was aware we played them once, but I'm fine with playing them again. So we beat them 1-0 last time, and right now we have 1 run in the top of the first. So enjoy the game, guys. 1934 Cardinals, one of my favorite teams of all time. Love the Gas House Gang. And that includes the 1931 Cardinals, too, for that matter. So Ed Delahanty at first, 30 steals for him. Dan Bruthers hitting .316, 21 homers, 102 runs batted in. Diz with the 1-0 delivery. Bruthers swings, and Orsatti goes back on this ball. It's going to be off the wall. Delahanty rounding third. He will score. Dan Bruthers with an RBI double. 2 in for the Nuff Saids here in the top of the first inning. Sportsman's Park, 1934. And Mike Tiernan getting the start tonight in right field. Tiernan hitting .289, 10 home runs, 74 runs batted in. Dan Bruthers in scoring position. 2 extra base hits for the Ned McGreevy Nuff Saids. A triple by Tris Speaker and a double by Dan Bruthers. Speaker would score on the sacrifice, and Dean delivers the 0-1. Tiernan cuts on this one, fly ball to left. Medwick back on it, makes the catch. Bruthers tagging at second, but he will stay. So 2 down for Deacon McGuire starting catcher tonight. McGuire hitting .309, 3 dingers, 54 runs batted in for him. Dizzy Dean winds and fires. The throw back. Bruthers stays planted at second as Frankie Frisch gets behind him to get that spin around pickoff attempt from Diz. Runner on second, 2 down. Dean comes home with it. McGuire swings, fly ball. Eddie Orsatti back and gets it for out number 3, but 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 1 left. and half inning in the books. It's the Nuffseds 2 and the 1934 St. Louis Cardinals coming to bat. Looking at the defense for the Nuffseds in left field, Ed Delahanty. In center, Tris Speaker. In right field, Mike Tiernan. The infield from first to third, Dan Bruthers, Buck Ewing, Hannes Wagner, Home Run Baker. Catching, Deacon McGuire, and pitching, Walter Johnson. We're going to have to bring in a few more pitchers as we keep going on if I decide to make this into a Ned McGreevy versus everybody league throughout baseball history. It brought in a bunch of teams last night from quite a few years, some extra seasons installed just for that purpose. Last night the McGreevy's clobbering PQ Riverhead wanted to see the 1951 White Sox, and it wasn't even a contest. It was a beatdown. All right, the wild horse of the Osage, Pepper Martin, leads it off. The key for the Ned McGreevy Nuffseds is to keep him off the base paths. Martin, a dangerous base stealer. In 1934, hit .289, 5 home runs, 49 ribbies, 23 steals. And Frankie Frisch, excellent contact hitter, also very fast, waits on deck. Walter Johnson, a 1.49 earned run average, 29 and 14 with 2 saves, 357 innings pitched, walked 65, struck out 250. His whip 916, and opponents hitting 202 against him. In our Ned McGreevy league, he was beyond dominant, just beyond dominant. He didn't lead the league in strikeouts. Rube Waddell had that honor, but Johnson was second. All right, the big train set to work now. The 1-1, Pepper Martin sends this deep to right, back against the wall. Mike Tiernan making a fine running catch against the wall in right field here at beautiful Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, Missouri. The Fordham Flash, second baseman, Frankie Frisch, 305 with 3 home runs, 75 runs batted in. Frisch with 11 steals in 1934. The Cubs of Bears coming in saying he was watching a baseball game on ESPN yesterday involving Merrimack College, and the announcer thanked Ken Castro for his help in pursuing the info. Was that our Ken? I guess Ken knows for sure. So, cool. All right. So, back to game action. 1 away, Frankie Frisch in the box against Walter Johnson, the big train with the 2-2. Frisch, clean base hit up the middle, splitting Wagner and Ewing. Ewing getting the start at second. Ewing, versatile player, can play pretty much rated everywhere except left field and pitcher. And here is Joe Medwick. So now we're getting into the power part of the lineup. Medwick in 1934 with a .319 average, 18 dingers, 106 runs batted in. Frankie Frisch at first with 11 steals, has some good speed there. Johnson checks the runner. The 0-1 to Ducky. There goes Frisch. The hit and run was on. Bruthers will take it to the bag himself to retire Medwick. Frankie Frisch will make it to second. So the Gas House Gang with a runner at second for Ripper Collins. 35 home runs in 1934, National League home run champ. And he had .333 with 128 runs batted in. Good lead for Frisch off of second as Johnson checks the runner. Payoff pitch to Collins. Collins. Big cut, but nothing but air. And that does it for St. Louis. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. We've played 1 here at Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. It's the Nuffseds 2, and the 1934 Cardinals, nothing. And there's Todd B. As Ken Castro says, it is not I. All right. PQ River saying that the chums have again gathered. And Todd B., congratulations to your Cleveland Spiders, finishing third. Very, very close, finishing right behind the Philadelphia Quakers. So congratulations. Good job scratching and spitting all season, as you said. You put together a good team, and in a tough league, you finished third. Just a game behind Philadelphia for second place, who was in second place. So great job to Todd B. All right, Buck Ewing, home run Baker, and Walter Johnson to bat here in the top of the second for the Nuffseds. Ewing at .273, 7 dinger, 66 ribbies. Dizzy Dean. The 1-0 pitch. Ewing, long fly ball to left field. Joe Medwick, a leaping grab, slamming against the wall, making the play. Nice play by Medwick. 1 down. Home run Baker. Ignore the hitting streak message. That is history, of course. Baker hitting .316, 8 dingers, 94 ribbies for home run Baker. Dizzy Dean with the 0-1, and Baker gets the bunt down. It's a good one. Pepper Martin coming in. They're not going to get Baker. So Baker with the infield hit. That's the 4th hit for the Nuffseds. And Baker has wheels. 24 steals, both in the baseball history collection and in the now completed Ned McGreevy League World Series coming up next week. Manchester versus Philadelphia. Walter Johnson, .236 average, 2 home runs, 14 ribbies. Johnson, a pretty good hitting pitcher. And Christopher Slovic says, when in the World Series for this? Next week, Chris. Next week. A 3-game World Series between Manchester and Philadelphia. So it was decided a couple nights ago with the Providence loss and nobody else and everybody else mathematically out of it. And Cleveland holding on to second place for a very, very long time, but rather a heartbreaking loss for Cleveland. And Philadelphia winning, that kind of did it. And it was a Philadelphia-Cleveland game, so it was tough. Providence facing Manchester. They couldn't have scripted better than we did there. Couldn't have planned it out better. Baker at first, 1 away, 2-0, Nuffseds league. And here is the wind. Nope, the throw over, and Baker back ahead of the Ripper Collins tag. Dizzy Dean's 0-2 delivery to Johnson. Fastball popped in the infield. DeRocher and Martin calling for it, but DeRocher waving off Martin in the shallow grass. 2 down, Baker remaining at first with the infield fly rule in effect. Back at the top of the order now, the Flying Dutchman, Hannes Wagner, released now from Arsenal and to return to wherever he would like to play on one of my teams. We will see Hannes Wagner in the 19th Century Dead Ball Tournament that we have coming up after the Ned McGreevy World Series. We'll see Wagner along with the 1909 Pittsburgh Pirates getting a bye in the first round. Very powerful team, that 1909 squad. 2 down, Baker on first. Throw over by Dean. Baker back in safe ahead of the Collins tag. Dean brings it home now. Payoff pitch. Wagner lays off and draws the walk. So speed on the base paths for the Nuffseds. Baker at second. Wagner at first with 2 down. And the Grey Eagle Tris Speaker who tripled back in the first. There we go. So Christopher Slovic giving us a great link in there. And I believe these were things that Clinton Parks would use as well. Is where you can read newspapers that actually write about the dead ball eras. Thank you, Christopher. We appreciate it. Yep. PQ Ribber using the Library of Congress a lot for a 1911 podcast. Very cool. Great, great team. And we will see, actually, that's going to be a marquee matchup, gentlemen, in our in the round 1 of the Dead Ball 19th Century Tournament. We're going to see a lot of different players this time around. And the big one in that tournament in round number 1, the 1911 Philadelphia A's versus the 1912 Boston Red Sox. So if you're an aficionado of Dead Ball, if you just love baseball in general, you're going to see 2 great teams clashing in that first round. Coming up after the Ned McGreevy League, I'm hoping Friday evening, guys, or Friday night, we'll be doing another look at Steve Tate's Negro League Files. We're going to play a few exhibitions and then set up an all-star game. So it's going to be fun. There's Aaron Reed in there, coming in. Todd B says, Lajoie said goodbye to me as he drove off in his Chalmers auto. He won because of the winning the batting title. Absolutely. All right, Tris Speaker batting with 2 down, 2 on. Dean delivers to the Grey Eagle. First pitch swinging, a long fly ball to right by Speaker, but back on it is Jack Rothrock to make the catch and right. No runs, 1 hit, 2 errors, 2 left on. We go to the bottom of the second. It's the Nuffseds 2 and the 1934 Cardinals nothing. And Jack Rothrock, Bill Delancey, and Ernie Orsatti, due up for the Gas House Gang. Rothrock, 284 average, 11 home runs, and 72 ribbies in 1934. And I'm more and more thinking of doing, I know I say I don't do them, but I'm really thinking of a season replay, and I'm so drawn to this Gas House Gang that I'd really like to do something with them. But maybe something down the line. I don't know yet. But I really, really love these Cardinals. And the Cardinals are my second favorite team in the National League. So, all right, Johnson with a 2-2 to Rothrock, base hit up the middle. That is base hit number 2 for St. Louis. So Rothrock aboard, and not really known as a base stealer. He'll pick his spots. He does have 10 steals in this baseball history collection by Dave Cook Sports. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'm not using Dave Cook for 1934. So he had 10 steals in the 1934 season. All right, here's catcher Bill Delancey. 315 average, 13 diggers, 40 ribbies. Johnson checks the runner Rothrock at first. The 2-1 comes home to Delancey. Solid base hit. And Delancey going for 2. He slides. Wagner's tag not in time. So Delancey with the double here in the bottom of the second. 2 down. Jack Rothrock at third. Cardinals threatening as Ernie Orsatti steps to the plate now. The center fielder in 1934, an even 300 average with 31 runs batted in. Orsatti bats left. Johnson working from the stretch in the 1-2. Orsatti, this one got the outside corner, and Orsatti looks at called strike 3. So 1 down for Leo the Lip DeRocher. DeRocher hitting 263 home runs, 70 runs batted in. Love DeRocher because of the dressing down he gave to the racists on the Brooklyn Dodgers who tried to resist Jackie Robinson joining the team in 1947. DeRocher, got to give him a lot of credit. Really came down on Higbee, Walker, and a few others. All right. So the Lip in there getting his nickname from Babe Ruth. Walter Johnson from the stretch, 1 down in the 1-2, and strike 3 called. So Walter Johnson picks up his 3rd strikeout, 2 away, and here's old Diz. Diz in 1934. Talk about good hitting pitchers, even better than Johnson. A 246 average. He hit 2 taters and 9 runs batted in. Diz with 118 at-bats in 1934. Even managed a triple and 3 doubles and a stolen base. Johnson working from the stretch. Payoff pitch. Dean swings. Popped in the infield. Bruthers, Ewing converging. Bruthers calls him off. And that's it. The Cardinals threaten but do not score. So no runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. We've played 2, and it's 2-0. The Nuffseds over the St. Louis Cardinals of 1934, the great Gas House Gang. Okay, Robbie, it's Sportsman's Park. I think I've said that over the first couple innings. Sportsman's Park, St. Louis. And it's a neat ballpark. I'm not sure what year this was taken, but around there's pitcher's mound. At one time there was a ring around the pitcher's mound, which is really cool. This is a nice ballpark. I really like this one. All right, Ed Delahanty, Dan Bruthers, and Mike Tiernan will lead it off here for the McGreevies in the top of the 3rd. Delahanty, RBI single, scoring Tris Speaker after Speaker tripled back in the 1st. The 1-2 delivery to Delahanty. This one chopped to short. DeRocher has it on to Ripper Collins to retire Delahanty for out number 1. Yep, it is. And as Clinton says, original home of the St. Louis Browns. Dan Bruthers is 1 for 1. He doubled RBI, scoring Ed Delahanty back in the first, and that is your scoring. 2-0. Diz with the 1-2 to Bruthers. Bruthers hacks on this one. Fly ball to center. Eddie Orsatti, can of corn. 2 up, 2 down. Right fielder Mike Tiernan for the Nuffseds gave it a ride to deep left back in the first. Dean brings it after getting the sign from Delancey. This one fouled on the third base side. Martin gets it, tosses it back over to Dizzy Dean. The 0-2. And Tiernan, swing and a miss. We go to the bottom of the third. It's 2-0. Actually, that was inside, so he didn't hold up, though. Johnson to work now to Pepper Martin back at the top of the order. So Martin sends this to center, and the Gray Eagle has it. So one away here in the St. Louis third, and it brings up Frankie Frisch, the Fordham Flash. Grounded a single back in the first. The big train delivers the 1-1 to Frisch. Frisch swings, liner right to Buck Ewing. So 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the third, and it brings up Ducky Medwick. Medwick grounded out back in the first. Johnson brings it home, the 2-2 to Medwick. Medwick liner right to home run Baker. So the Cardinals go quietly, and we go to the top of the fourth, 2-0, the Nuffseds. And PQ Ribber asking about if anybody is up on Japanese leagues, Japanese baseball. Yeah, actually, Todd B., Clinton had asked for this game, so this is sort of a rematch, though. We beat the 1934 Cardinals first time around, 1-0. We lost to the 1929 Philadelphia A's in extra innings, 4-3. I do believe we beat the Baltimore Orioles. We're either 2 and 3. I'm not sure, but we're doing pretty well. I'm trying to remember if it was the Indians or Red Sox that we lost against, but doing pretty well. And we have quite a number of teams to play against, just for fun. But I'm seriously thinking about making this into a league and letting the Dubliners in there against some of these teams that we've selected for them to play against. Coming up, like the 1991 Pirates, things like that. So down the line, these are fun one-offs. Anyhow, Deacon McGuire flied out back in the first. Nobody out. McGuire would be followed by Ewing and Baker. Diz with a strikeout and a walk. Let's go to McGuire, and a swing and a miss for strike 3. Dizzy Dean throwing a nice little change up there. So Buck Ewing, 0-for-1. I was watching it's called British Blokes React, and tonight's video before I came online, I was watching. They were reacting to basically beanballs, and you can see these guys were not used to seeing things like that. And just reminded, thank God we have batting helmets now, but a few of the guys hit right in the face. And it's even worse for the pitchers, right? Because all the ones that are showing, right, pitchers are just wearing their hats, and whew, one hit a pitcher right in the face, and it came off the bat at 104 miles an hour. And the uneducated say there's no danger in baseball. They're idiots. All right. The 1-0 delivery to Ewing. Ewing swings, chopped to Dean back at the mound. Dean off to his right, and a nice throw on to Ripper Collins. 2 quick outs here in the top of the fourth for home run Baker. Bunt single back in the second. Diz with the 0-1. Baker chops it to short to Rocher. Routine 6-3 put-out to retire the Nuffseds. They go 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the fourth, 2-0 the Nuffseds against the Cardinals. Walter Johnson working on a 3-hitter right now. Walter Johnson will face the 4, 5, 6 hitters of the Gas House Gang, Ripper Collins, Jack Rothrock, and Bill Delancey. Collins, 0-for-1, struck out against the big train back in the first. The big train has fan 3. Here's the wind in the 1-0. And Collins, base hit. This one scorched all the way to the wall in left field. Delahanty running for this ball. Collins going for 2. Delahanty's ball will hit Wagner. No, it will come all the way to Ewing. Tag too late. And Collins in there with the leadoff double. Tying run comes to the plate now, and right fielder Jack Rothrock, 1-for-1 in the game, singled up the middle back in the second. Collins into his lead at second. Johnson checks the runner. The 1-1 delivery to Rothrock. Fastball chopped to short. Wagner to Bruthers. This is going to be close. And they do get Rothrock. Ripper Collins will go to third on the play. Billy Delancey looking for a big RBI here. And St. Louis will try to cut this Nuffsed's lead in half. So Walter Johnson now working on a 4-hitter. Delancey, the catcher, 1-for-1. Double back in the second. And that's when the Cardinals threatened, but they could not get anybody home with 2 in scoring position. Johnson from the stretch. Delancey swinging on the first pitch. Speaker has it. This will be deep enough. Ripper Collins will tag and score. And the St. Louis Cardinals of 1934 tally their first run in the bottom of the fourth. It's now 2-1. And Eddie Orsatti batting with the bases empty and 2 away. Orsatti struck out against the big train back in the second. Johnson with that graceful delivery after McGuire gives him the signs. The 1-1. Orsatti swings in his fastball. Base hit. And Mike Tiernan playing it on the bounce. So Orsatti aboard. And Ernie just with 6 steals in 1934. DeRocher 0-for-1 now. Struck out back in the second. Johnson checks the runner. There goes Orsatti, the throw down, and Eddie Orsatti picks up a steal. So tying run now in scoring position for the St. Louis Cardinals. DeRocher back in the box against the big train, and the 0-1 delivery to DeRocher. Fastball swung on, come back to the mound, and Walter Johnson making the 1-3 putout. But the Gas House gang pick up a run on 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. We've played 4. The Nuffseds 2, and the 1934 Cardinals 1. So the last time we played these guys, we won 0. Now we're leading 2-1. Old Diz will face the big train, the Flying Dutchman, and the Gray Eagle. Big train 0-for-1. Popped to short back in the second. Diz brings the 2-0. Johnson swings, routine fly ball to center. Orsatti didn't even have to move. 1 up, 1 down. So Orsatti has made 5 putouts in this game thus far. Flying Dutchman 0-for-1, including a walk. Diz peers in, has the sign from Bill Delancey. Here's the wind, the 0-1. Wagner swings, extra bases, this one into left. Medwick chasing this way back. Wagner is rounding second. Wagner is going to have himself a triple. So Wagner now just 90 feet away, and Hannes Wagner, excellent speed, and here's Tris Speaker, dangerous combination. Speaker 1-for-2 has a triple in this game. Diz from the stretch, and the 1-1 to the Gray Eagle. Base hit left field. RBI single for Speaker. And the Flying Dutchman scores, and the Nuffseds now padding their lead. It's 3-1 here in the bottom of the 5th. 1 out. Speaker at first. Tris Speaker had wheels. 29 steals in this BHC. And Delahanty 1-for-2. RBI back in the first, scoring Tris Speaker. Speaker good lead off at first. Dean checks the runner. Throws over. Speaker back just in time. Close call there at first, but back in time ahead of Ripper Collins' sweep tag. The 2-0 coming home to Delahanty. There goes Speaker, the throw down by Delancey. Tris Speaker has it pilfered. Runner in scoring position for the Nuffseds here, and a run in the 5th. 1 away, Dean's delivery, the 2-1, and Delahanty lays off. Ball 4, this one high. So Diz issuing his second free pass to accompany 2 strikeouts. 2 aboard for the Nuffseds, 1 down. Speaker at second, Delahanty at first. And hope you guys are enjoying the game. Dean looking for a double play ball. Dan Bruthers, RBI double. Back in the first. The 0-2, Bruther swings, base hit, left field, Speaker rounding third, Orsatti has it, Speaker's going to score, Delahanty will hold at third. It is now 4-1 in favor of the Nuff Seds. And here comes Mike Tiernan. He is nothing for two. He is fly to deep left and struck out. Dean from the stretch in the 0-1 to Mike Tiernan. Tiernan swings, line to center. Eddie Orsatti has it on the bounce. Delahanty will score. I'm sorry, Orsatti doesn't get it on a bounce. That was a line out. So Tiernan with the sacrifice RBI, and it's now 5-1. Bruthers remaining at first. Deacon McGuire, nothing for two. He is fly to deep center and struck out. Dean with the 0-2, and this one, swing and a miss, strike three, but the Ned McGreevy Nuff Seds picking up 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and it's the Dubliners 5 and St. Louis 1. Dizzy Dean, Pepper Martin, and the Fordham Flash due up, or we should say Dizzy the Fordham Dizzy, the Wild Horse of the Osage, and the Fordham Flash. Nothing for one for old Diz. Walter Johnson brings it now, the 1-0. Dean swings line to right to Wagner at short for out number 1. Back at the top of the order now, St. Louis leadoff hitter Martin. He is flied out twice. Johnson brings it home, the 1-1 to Pepper Martin. A fastball chopped up the first base line. Bruthers has it, underhanded toss to Johnson covering for the 3-1 put out and 2 down. And now the Fordham Flash, great player both for the Cardinals and the New York Giants. Frisch, of course, getting the nickname, a very educated man, attending a very, very great Catholic college, Fordham University. Fordham, for a long time, and I'm not sure if it's still true, but Major League Baseball umpires, one of the schools that umpires were trained at was Fordham University, and it's a great, great school. So Frisch batting with 2 down against Walter Johnson. Johnson with the 0-1. Frisch fouls this one on the right-hand side. This one's going to bounce into the stands, so a new ball makes it into play. Walter Johnson kind of looking at a rubbed-up baseball as opposed to a misshapen black thing. Frisch back in the box. He singled and is lined to second in this game. Johnson with the 0-2. Frisch, easy chopper to Ewing. Ewing to Bruthers, but Bruthers cannot dig that throw out. And Frisch will make it to second as Bruthers needs to chase it all the way to the stands on the right-hand side. So that will be an error on Buck Ewing. Frisch in scoring position for Medwick, and the Cardinals have a lot of work to do here, but we are in the middle innings, so still lots of time left. Cardinals with 5 hits, the Nuff Seds with 7. 1 error in the game by the Nuff Seds. Each team has stranded 4. Medwick is grounded to first and lined to third. Frisch has a good lead off second. Good speed in the Fordham Flash. Johnson with the 1-2 to Medwick. Medwick cuts on this one, lined right to home run Baker. And St. Louis strands one. And we go to the top of the 6th. It's the Dubliners 5 and the Cardinals 1. Clinton Parks, Fordham was also known for that other sport. Yep. And Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi were teammates. I know enough about that other sport to know that the former was the coach for the Cowboys and the latter for the Packers. So I do know that. Todd B says Angel Hernandez was never trained. Only time I would vote for auto ump is when he is scheduled. Completely agree with that. All right. Hey, 6 viewers and 1 like. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Buck Ewing will lead it off, followed by home run Baker, Walter Johnson. Buck Ewing in the game has flied out and grounded to pitcher. 5-1 your score here in the 6th. Diz, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. Ewing, a liner. Medwick, leaping grab on that play. So 1 down. Medwick saving an extra base hit there for the Cards, and it brings up home run Baker. Bunt single and grounded to short. 1-1 pitch, cut on, Routine fly ball. Orsatti once again makes the put out. That's number 6, I believe, for Ernie Orsatti in the game. So busy out there today, earning his paycheck for the Gas House Gang. Walter Johnson is nothing for 2 now with 2 down. He's popped a short fly to center. Dean's 1-2. Johnson sends this fly ball deep to right, but Jack Rothrock making the catch in right to retire the Nuffseds. They go in order, bottom of the 6th, and it is 5-1. The Ned McGreevies over the Cardinals of 1934. Ripper Collins, Jack Rothrock, and Bill Delancey will bat here in the home half of the 6th at beautiful Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, Missouri. Collins struck out and doubled. This would become the shared home eventually of both baseball teams, the Browns and the Cardinals. You know, a team we've got to bring in to play against the Ned McGreevies, speaking of the Browns, are the 1922 St. Louis Browns. So we can see Ken Williams, Urban Shocker, George Sisler. Excellent team, finishing just 1 game behind the 1922 New York Yankees in the American League. Johnson works to Ripper Collins, the 1-2. Collins swings, base hit to left. Delahanty up with it. Collins making a wide turn at first, but he's going to hold. So Ripper at first for right fielder Jack Rothrock. He has a single and he grounded to short. Bill Delancey waits on deck. And every time I see the name Delancey, I think, of course, of the actor who played Q in Star Trek The Next Generation. Their name's spelled a little bit differently. Collins, about 3 steps off first. Johnson with a check of the runner. The 2-0. Rothrock swings, chopper to short. Wagner to Ewing. Ewing on the pivot to Bruthers for the 6-4-3 double play. So 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 6th for catcher Bill Delancey. Sacrifice back in the 4th, scoring Ripper Collins. And that has been the only St. Louis run. Yep, Fordham, also known for their FM radio station, says PQ River. Great Weird Night stuff. So I'll just say this. People knock the Catholic Church, and yet they have the best secondary education system after public universities, the best healthcare system after the federal government. They do a lot of good. They also have the biggest charity in the world, Catholic Charities, and and I'm saying this is an Eastern Orthodox. Doesn't matter your faith or no faith, Catholic Charities will help you. So when people knock the Catholic Church, I say back up there, bunkie. Borrowing that from Ken Castro. All right, Delancey batting with 2 away. Here's the wind and the delivery from the big train, the 1-2. Delancey, base hit to left. Delahanty up with it. So Delancey aboard for Ernie Orsatti. Singled back in the 4th, struck out in the 2nd. Johnson checks the runner, the wind in the 0-2. Orsatti not able to catch up with that one, completely fooled. And Johnson picks up strikeout number 4. We go to the 7th. It's 5-1. Nuffseds over the 1934 Gas House Gang. World's Worst Gamer says he is Catholic. Didn't know that. Cool. So we are sort of sister churches. Until the Council of Florence, we were one church. So there we go. And I'm actually thinking of returning, but going to the Byzantine Catholic Church. I still haven't decided. Don't know what to do yet. Wagner is 1 for 2. We're back at the top of the order for the Nuffseds, followed by Tris Speaker and Ed Delahanty. Again, Tris Speaker getting the start and center. Every manager should have such problems to deal with. Geez, do I start Cobb or do I start Speaker? Cobb and Speaker, of course, very, very good friends. So Hannes tripled back in the 5th and would score. Dean, the payoff pitch to Hannes Wagner. And Wagner lays off and draws the walk, so a dangerous runner aboard with nobody out. Again, ignore that. Wagner actually with 48 steals in the baseball history collection. Tris Speaker having a great day today at the plate. He is 2 for 3, a triple and an RBI single, scoring Hannes Wagner, making it 3-1 Dublin. It is now 5-1. Dean works now. Speaker swinging at the first pitch. There goes Wagner, and actually Speaker holds up, and Wagner gets the steal. So potential run number 6 in scoring position, and a base hit easily scores Hannes Wagner from second. 8-time National League batting champ. Wagner, I believe, 720 some stolen bases. I don't know the exact number. Career-wise, could play virtually every position. Was a utility man for the 1901, 1902 Pirates, 1903. Not because he wasn't good, but because he was so good. The Bucks could pretty much play him anywhere. My favorite player, and you guys all know that, of all time, Hannes Wagner. Speaker steps in against old Diz. Diz has the sign from Delancey. Here is the wind and the 1-0 to Speaker. Speaker swings, stroke to center field. Orsatti up with it. And surprisingly, Wagner, they're holding Wagner at third. Orsatti, average arm out there, but not sending Wagner. So runners at the corners. Potential double play situation, at least that's what Dean is looking for, as the dangerous Ed Delahanty steps up. RBI single back in the first. He's also grounded to short, and he walked in the fifth. Dean brings it home, the 0-2 to Delahanty. And Delahanty swings and a miss. So Diz picks up strikeout number 4, 1 away for Dan Bruthers. Also doing well at the plate today. He is 2 for 3. RBI double in the first, RBI single in the fifth. So the McGreevy's threatening. Wagner at third, Speaker at first. Speaker with some good speed at first. Dean with the 1-2 delivery. And Bruthers, a swing and a miss. Dizzy Dean bearing down. Bring in some good old country fastball. Nothing fancy there from old Diz. 2 away now. So the Nuffseds may be squandering an opportunity. Still curious why Wagner was held at third. Should have waved him on. But the computer manager decided to hold Wagner up at third. Mike Tiernan, nothing for 2 today. Does have a sacrifice, though, scoring Delahanty. That was back in the fifth, and it made it 5-1 in favor of the Nuffseds. Dean from the stretch, the 0-1. Tiernan swings, base hit to right, so Mike Tiernan's going to pick up his second RBI of the game. Wagner will score. Speaker moves to third in the play, 6-1. So our first time against these Cardinals, we beat them 1-0. This time, we're smacking them around, 6-1. But bottom of the seventh, still time. Don't want to take this Cardinals team too lightly. Deacon McGuire not having the best day at the plate. He has struck out twice and fly to deep center against Diz. Diz with 5 strikeouts now, even with Walter Johnson. Dean from the stretch and the 2-1 to McGuire. Cut on, and this one, infield single. Delancey pounces on it, but McGuire gets the base hit, and the run scores. Tris Speaker will come in to score. So McGuire getting down the bunt. It looks like it was a suicide squeeze, and it worked. So 7-1 now. 2 in here in the top of the seventh. Buck Ewing, nothing for 3. So slow day for Buck. Delancey goes out, has a word to Diz. Behind the dish now. The 0-2 to Buck. Ewing, base hit to right. This will be extra bases. Tiernan will score. McGuire is tearing around third, and he will score. 2 more in. Buck Ewing going for 3. The throw hits the cutoff man Frisch. Frisch throws to Martin at third. The tag. And Buck Ewing with the triple. And Jesse Haynes, Hall of Famer, will come in to pitch. Dizzy Dean's day is done, and it is 9-1. So Jesse Haynes in 1934, a 3.50 earned run average, 4-4 record, 1 save. Haynes near the end of his career in 1934, walked 19 and struck out only 17. So Haynes trying to get this final out. Ewing just 90 feet away at third base with the potential 10th run as home run Baker steps in. Bunt single back in the second for him, and he's grounded out and flied out. Haynes from the stretch in the 0-2 to Baker. Baker swings, fly ball to center. Orsatti back on it and makes the catch. Middle of the seventh, 9-1 as 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors, 1 left. 9-1, the Nuffseds over the Cardinals. Well, neither are we Eastern Orthodox, Clinton, but that being said, just wanted to point out that the Catholic Church does a lot of good. They really, really do. You look at some of the great universities. Georgetown, an American university. Marquette, Loyola, Notre Dame. I mean, so many great schools. All right, Leo DeRocher starts it off here in the bottom of the 7th, and he'll be followed by, I'm guessing, a pinch hitter for Jesse Haynes, and then Pepper Martin. DeRocher, nothing for 2. He has struck out and grounded out. So Walter Johnson, I have to correct myself. Walter Johnson, only 4 strikeouts to Dean's 5, but Johnson has yet to walk a batter. The big train wheels and deals the 1-0. DeRocher chops it to Wagner. Wagner with a quick throw on to Bruthers to get the speedy DeRocher on the 6-3. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And will Jesse Haynes bat? We will see. As a hitter in 1934, Jesse was 158. No runs batted in for him, and it's going to be Pat Crawford. Pat Crawford lines a base hit into right. He had 271 with 16 ribbies in 1934. So Crawford aboard. Get a picture of Pat Crawford. There he is. And back at the top of the order, the Wild Horse of the Osage. I love that nickname. Let's get a picture of Pepper Martin. There he is. This is a dude that he's going to hang out in a pub and just look at that huge chaw backy there, huh? Pepper Martin. There's a crazy picture of Martin out there. I would actually like to put in the game instead of this one. This one a little more sedate Pepper Martin, but this dude was just he was off the charts nuts. So Pat Crawford at first base, no steals in 1934. Martin nothing for 3. McGuire out to chat to the big train. Here's the payoff pitch to Pepper Martin. And Martin lays off, and Johnson issues his first free pass. 2 aboard, 1 down. Johnson trying to induce a double play here. Frankie Frisch. Let's look here for Frankie Frisch in 1934. He did grind. He grounded into 17 double plays. Frisch in 1934 with an OPS of 7.57. Johnson sets and delivers the 3-1 to Frisch. Frisch lays off, and bases are loaded, and it's time to go to the pen. And we brought in Mathewson last night, and I think we're going to bring in Alexander tonight. So the big train leaves, 9-1 lead, and again, why not? So Pete Alexander, a 1.79 earned run average, 26 wins, 12 losses, 2 saves, 337 innings worked, walked 57, struck out 184. Just slightly less wicked than Walter Johnson, with a whip of 9.26, and opponent's average just 201 against him. In the McGreevy League, also performed spectacularly. The whip and the average a little bit higher, but Alexander One of the great ones, huh? All right, facing the dangerous Ducky Medwick, a grand slam gets them closer, but Alexander with one out, looking for a double play. Here's the wind, and from the stretch, the 1-2, I'm sorry, not a wind. Long fly ball to right. Tiernan has it. Crawford will tag and score. So 2 in now. 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 7th for the Cardinals. So sorry about that wind and stretch. I'm tired. I had a day from hell at work today, and so it's nice to get home and hang out and do some baseball with you guys. Ripper Collins, 2 for 3. Martin at second. Frisch at first. Alexander with a 2-2 pitch. Fastball, and Ripper Collins not able to catch up to that. So Jim Winford now pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he will face Alexander. Wagner and Speaker, we're going to let old Pete bat unless the AI decides otherwise. Jim Winford, 0-2. He walked 6 and struck out 3 in 1934. I'm guessing in 1934, 12 and 2/3 innings pitched. So not knowing Jim Winford's story, not sure if he was maybe a rookie that year or just didn't get a lot of play time. Who knows? When you had the Dean brothers, Dizzy winning 30, Daffy winning 19. Winford comes home to Alexander, the 0-2, chopper to second, Frisch to Collins for the 4-3 putout. Hey, there's my paisan, Pib 99. Good to see you, my friend. All right, back at the top of the order now, and the Flying Dutchman. Wagner is 1 for 2. And 2 walks. Winford fires it in, the 2-2 pitch. Wagner swings, chopper to short, shortstop to shortstop, as DeRocher making a fine play ranging to his left to retire Wagner for the second out. Tris Speaker is 3 for 4 today. Speaker tearing it up, saying you got to start me more than my buddy Ty Cobb. RBI scoring, Wagner back in the 5th. Winford winds, and the count 2-2 even. Speaker picks up base hit. So the Gray Eagle aboard with 2 down, and Ed Delahanty 1 for 3 in the game, including an RBI back in the 1st. Speaker with a stolen base in this game. Good lead off first. Winford checks the runner. Count even on Delahanty. Here's the pitch. Delahanty sends it out to left field. Medwick at the track making the catch to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's the Nuffseds 9 and the 1934 Cardinals 2. Jack Rothrock, Bill Delancey, and Ernie Orsatti due up. Rothrock 1 for 3. So grounded a single in the 1st, and he is grounded out into a double play in the 6th, and then just a good old ground out in the 4th. Bill Delancey waits on deck. Alexander on in relief just because we want to see him. Alexander delivers. Rothrock fouls this one back. And this one hits McGuire in the mask. He's all right. Says, let's play ball. Alexander brings it, and Rothrock, bounding ball to second. Ewing onto Bruthers for the 4-3 putout. 1 down here in the bottom of the 8th. As Bill Delancey strides to the plate. Delancey with a sacrifice back in the 4th, scoring Ripper Collins. And that was the first of 2 runs posted by these Cardinals. They scored 1 in the 7th. Alexander with the 1-2 delivery. And Delancey swings and nothing but air. And Pete Alexander with his 2nd strikeout. Brings up center fielder Ernie Orsatti for the Gas House Gang. He has struck out twice and singled over second back in the 4th. Grover brings it, base hit, center field, and he's going for 2 when Orsatti has the 2-out double. Just a stinger, and just tearing around the base with no regard to that powerful arm of Tris Speaker, and Orsatti on a close play picks up the double. DeRocher in this game is nothing for 3. He has struck out and grounded out twice. Runner in scoring position for the Cardinals, 2 down, bottom of the 8th. Alexander count even on DeRocher, and DeRocher, this one chasing one out of the strike zone, and Alexander picks up strikeout number 3. We go to the top of the 9th. Enough Said's 9, and the Cardinals 2. And Jim Winford will face Dan Bruthers, Mike Tiernan, and Deacon McGuire. All we can hope is that Winford can take care of the Enough Saids, just so that this inning doesn't turn into something terribly explosive. The biggest inning for the Enough Saids, 4 in the 7th, but they also scored 2 in the 1st and 3 in the 5th. Bruthers 2 for 4 today. Winford deals the 0-1. Bruthers swings. This one line to right, and Jack Rothrock making the play. 1 up, 1 down for right fielder Mike Tiernan. 2 RBI in this game, 1 on a sacrifice, and an RBI single in the 7th, scoring Hannes Wagner. Winford, again, when I say Winfield, it's not Dave Winfield, that's Jim Winford. 0-2 to Tiernan. Tiernan swing and a miss. So Jim Winford picks up a strikeout. 2 down for Deacon McGuire, who's 1 for 4. And they're calling an infield single, but it was a successful suicide squeeze, scoring Tris Speaker. Winford with the 0-2 delivery. McGuire swings, base hit to left. Medwick up with it. Quickly gets it into Leo DeRocher. So Deacon McGuire aboard today. 8 steals in the baseball history collection. Again, I can't recommend the baseball history collection too highly from Dave Cook Sports if you're an action PC player. This is a superb file. And then you could do these mixes and matches with regular seasons, and so much fun. All right, 2 down, McGuire at first, top of the 9th, 9-2 your score. Buck Ewing tripled back in the 7th and would score Mike Tiernan. Winford deals the 1-2 to Buck Ewing. Ewing, this one will be scored a pass ball. Looks like McGuire lost sight of it, or Delancey lost sight of it. McGuire, keeping sight of it, makes it to second. So potential run number 10 in scoring position for the Enough Saids. Ewing back in there. The count even on him. Jim Winford into his motion, and the 2-2 delivery. Ewing swings, easy ground ball to third. Martin up with it on to Collins, but Ewing tearing down the baseline will beat the throw. So Martin maybe a little bit of a little lackadaisical there. So runners at the corners, and Buck Ewing actually with 26 steals. Home run Baker, 1 for 4. Bunt single way back in the 1st. Winford from the stretch and the 1-0 to Baker. Baker swings. Fly ball. Orsatti going way to his left to make the catch at the wall to retire the side. St. Louis with 3 chances to try to make up 7 runs. And we're not going to see Winford batting, I'm hoping. So who's going to come up? We shall see. Kiddo Davis, 303, 4 runs batted, including a home run, sends this to left. And Delahanty, leaping grab against the wall, 1 up, 1 down. Pepper Martin, nothing for 3, back at the top of the order for the Cardinals. Alexander with the 1-1. And Martin, this one, scorched to left and slides and has himself a double as Delahanty whips it in quickly, but not in time. So Martin in scoring position for Frankie Frisch, who is 1 for 3. Cardinals trying to mount something here with 1 down and down 7 runs. Alexander checks the runner, and Frisch swinging on the first pitch, bounding ball up the middle. Ewing's going to go to third, and they get the lead runner. Great heads-up play by Buck Ewing. So 2 away for Ducky Medwick, nothing for 4. Frisch at first, good lead. The 1-2, Frisch into his motion, and a swing and a miss by Medwick, and this game mercifully over. And the Enough Saids just absolutely clobber the 1934 St. Louis Cardinals in their rematch, 9-2. So 2-0 against the Gas House Gang. Just quick highlights for the Ned McGreevy All-Stars. Tris Speaker goes 4 for 5. with a triple and a stolen base. Wagner 1 for 3 with a triple and a steal. Buck Ewing 2 for 5, 2 runs batted in. Walter Johnson gets the win. Diz takes the loss. For the Cardinals, Ernie Orsatti 2 for 4 with a double and a stolen base. Ripper Collins went 2 for 4 with a double. And again, because it's an exhibition, we're not going to worry about going over all that other stuff. So, there we go. A little bit of impromptu baseball fun, if you will. Pib99 says, I think Sportsman's Park image is time baseball. It has a fictional team name above the left field. Let's double check it. Let's double check that one, because I know that old time baseball image. Let's look at their ballpark. I have to look at it this way, I guess. And I don't know which. I'm trying to think. Is it Sportsman's Park 3? Ballparks. So what did I select for Sportsman's? We're not going to be able to see it in here. Let me see. Exit without saving. Yes, I didn't do anything. Let's have a quick look. I'm not sure. Park layout. Let's look at Sportsman's, and I think it was 3 that I picked. So I ask you guys to just indulge me for a second. Let's hit all these Sportsman's Parks and see. Nope, there's the one we used. So let's see. That could very well be it. Let's blow it up and see. I have old time baseball. I just haven't played in this park for a while. And yes, so yep, you're absolutely right. And old time baseball. This is a beautiful ballpark. And what they did is they actually were able to find the firms, the architecture, right? The architect firms and were able to secure the original blueprints for the 16 included classic baseball parks, and they're all beautiful. And I've seen so many baseball games, including this one, appropriate ballpark images from old time baseball. So good call for Pib99. Yeah, they were definitely great ballparks. Other images of Sportsman's Park. There's another one from old time baseball. So I think the first one, the other one we were looking at, a bit gussied up. I'm trying to look at one to show Robbie. I don't even know if he's still around. That ring around the pitcher's mound. There it is. There it is. So there's an image of it. Actually, I think this might be from another baseball game, definitely. I'm not sure. This might be the one. I'm not sure. There, of course, is the keyhole. Trying to find another one, because I really like that ring. There's another. This looks like one of the Gary Grigsby parks, and there's that dirt ring around the hill. Great old ballpark. And there's a photo. And there we go. Boy, oh boy, Kellogg's Cornflakes out there in left field. And there's the Budweiser sign out in left. So, pretty big ballpark. Look at the foul territory here at Sportsman's Park. That's really crazy, isn't it? Love these old ballparks. Love them, love them, love them. You know, compared to some of the modern retro parks. Like there's Target Field. Yeah, I mean, it's cool, but there's just something about these old ballparks. All right. It's a good call, Pib99. Yeah, those were great parks. And a really, really fun game, old-time baseball. Really fun game. Ahead of its time in a lot of ways. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. This was fun. If I do a game tomorrow night, it will be earlier in the night, so maybe around 9 o'clock, since I do have a 7 a.m. day on Friday. So there's a possibility of baseball tomorrow night. You're welcome, Cousin Ken Castro. I don't know, Robbie Wartburg probably too tired from working today, so probably I don't know if he's going to do a game tonight. I have seen. Thank you, PQ River. Best to you too, buddy. You're welcome, Clinton. Thank you for suggesting this game. All right, catch you all soon, says PQ River. Pib99 says, see you next time. So, arrivederci, paesano. Molto grazie. And that'll do it here. For me, I think I might just put on an Ernie Harwell game offline, unless Robbie Wartburg announces that he's going to do a game, but I don't see him around. So I'm guessing not. Thank you to Pib99, PQ River, Clinton Parks, Cousin Ken Castro, World's Worst Gamer, Todd B, and Aaron Reed, Christopher Slovic, the Cubs, the Bears, and Robbie Wartburg. Yeah, he's working some 12 shifts, so I would think he'd be down for the count. All right, guys, thank you, and see you around the batting cage. Appreciate you coming in for this little impromptu baseball tonight. And thanks to Clinton Parks for suggesting this rematch. It was a lot of fun. Next time with our McGreevy All-Stars, I've been wanting to play them against a team from the 1940s. So the McGreevy All-Stars will face the 1940 Cincinnati Reds the next time we play. Till then, guys, see you around the batting cage.